Coming up on Mountain News this morning, parents in Rockcastle County are asking for more diversity training in their schools. And yesterday, protesters were at the state capitol as they fight for more abortion access.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6 a.m. on Wednesday, February 14th, or Valentine's Day. But now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
And happy Valentine's Day to you too, Olivia. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. If you got plans later today, guess what? You can't blame the weather. You can blame the weather for a slow start and not wanting to get out of bed right now. That's what you're doing, or get that extra cup of coffee. 34 outside our studios here at WYMT, and from our studios down toward Harlan, visibility less than a mile in a number of locations, so please keep that in mind heading out the door this morning. The Kentucky River over Nestle County cresting this morning at about 22.5 or 22.5 feet rather. The Cumberland River over at Williamsburg a crest this evening at 18.1 feet. Again, minor flooding at both locations. Warmer temps to the north. This is where we do have the cloud cover issues right now. 40 at Ashland. There are the clouds. Fog issues across our southern counties. As this disturbance weakens and lifts out and we burn off the fog and lose the cloud cover, here comes high pressure in from mid-country. And that means, yes, we all become mostly sunny as we head from the morning into the afternoon. And a high today at Hazard up close to 55. Our next chance of precipitation with your First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. The sudden death of one Floyd County teacher has a community sharing stories of Mrs. Sloan. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the school she called home.
She was amazing. I mean, she just had a lot, you know, that we really needed in our school. And I mean, it's just hard to face each day knowing she's not here.
Vanessa Sloan spent her life teaching others.
She had a way of bringing out the best in everyone around her.
The students and staff she worked with say she found the perfect equation of education and inspiration.
And when you combine those two factors, it was really something magical to see.
And her love for the classes she cultivated was evident to all who knew her.
A big passion for education and kids, but particularly building relationships with those kids that need it the most.
Bringing joy and some jokes to John M. Stumbo.
She was serious about her teaching, but she really had a jokester side to her. So her and some of the middle school teachers would prank the students. And of course they were inside jokes and we weren't made aware of them.
Sloan died suddenly Friday, leaving an empty classroom and a hole in her community that many say will only be filled by the memories she created.
A big lesson for me from her is to let your own light shine, be yourself, help others.
A monumental Mustang whose legacy will live on.
I think we've all learned something from her that we'll continue to use in our own careers and in our own lives.
In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
John M. Stumbo canceled classes for Wednesday to allow students and staff to attend the funeral, and every school in the district asked its people to wear black Monday to mourn with the Mustangs. Last night, parents in Rockcastle County urged school board members to recognize the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some of their own kids say they do not feel safe or welcomed in school now. Grayson Passmore tells us why a group of moms are asking the board to create a new position to help.
As signs welcome visitors into Rockcastle County, there are some who have lived here all their lives who say they've begun to feel anything but.
One of our children had said, you know, like they just don't care, and I think that it's really important that they know that if no one else cares, we care, and we're going to continue to fight for them and make sure that they're heard.
Rochelle Riddle and two other moms started a group called Rockcastle Moms for moms of minority students. She says many of the kids also felt the need to start a diversity club for students elementary through high school after an incident that happened 2 years ago.
It was a teacher-led discussion. It was about the N-word, and it wasn't handled properly. And we had not only those kids that were misdirected in that classroom, but the child that had told us about the incident, she came home and she didn't want to go to school the next day.
Riddle says they're now advocating for a diversity, equity, and inclusion position within the school system.
Our faculty is 100% white, so it's really hard for them to have someone that they can go to relate.
But Riddle says a person with DEI training, especially a person of color, would give the entire district tools to communicate about people's differences in a sensitive and respectful manner.
Our kids need to see people of color in leadership positions. Representation matters.
And the Rock Moms group says they won't give up this fight. In Rockcastle County, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
The Rockcastle County Superintendent did not want to comment after the hearing. Meanwhile, a divisive bill on college diversity is moving forward in Frankfort. Senate Bill 6 passed the Senate 26-7 yesterday evening along party lines. The bill would end diversity and inclusion efforts in colleges. It now goes to the House. People in support of restoring abortion access in the state of Kentucky rallied at the state capitol yesterday. Right now, a woman in Kentucky cannot get an abortion unless her life is in danger. There are no exceptions for rape or incest. Planned Parenthood Alliance associates helped organize Monday's Reproductive Freedom Rally. The nonprofit claims there have been about 3,000 rape-related pregnancies in the Commonwealth since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. One Eastern Kentucky woman says if lawmakers are forcing pregnant women to give birth, the Commonwealth needs more support for mothers and infants.
They need to be sure to pass laws that expand Medicaid, that provide health care to millions of people living across this state. They need to expand access to food stamps that feed over 200,000 living children in Kentucky. They need to fully fund public education because education is one of the most fundamental ways to combat poverty.
She also pushed lawmakers to support paid parental leave. Democratic senators in Frankfort have filed a bill that would add exceptions to Kentucky's abortion law for rape and incest. It has not made any traction with the Republican supermajority. But one Kentucky lawmaker has unveiled a bill he says will transform child care in the state. Senator Danny Carroll's Horizons Act would put $300 million towards improving child care in the state. One of the things this bill would do is create a restricted fund to foster innovation in early childhood education programs. Carroll says this means various businesses and schools would be able to create a child care facility on site to serve their employees.
This transformational piece of legislation and the accompanying $150 million per year appropriation request will go a long way towards averting the impending crisis we are about to face if we don't act with purpose and certainty.
The Horizons Act will also create a new associate degree program in interdisciplinary early childhood education entrepreneurship within the Kentucky Community and Technical College system. KCTCS says this program will equip students with the skills needed to both work in and create their own early childhood education facilities.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. Some of us dealing with some cloud cover issues across our northern counties. From Hazard Point south, yeah, it's a foggy start this morning. 34 outside our studios here in Hazard. And you can see this sticking out like a sore thumb here in southeastern Kentucky. Again, from Hazard down to Harlan, visibility is less than a mile. In fact, officially in Harlan, a quarter of a mile. Where we have the cloud cover issues, some temperatures are warmer in the 30s and closer to 40 at Ashland. Here are those cloud cover issues streaming in northwest to southeast. Weakness rotating through the flow, and it is also weakening. So just cloud cover issues. Again, as you make your way from I-64 over toward Pike County. For the rest of us, again, we'll lose the fog this morning as well. as high pressure comes in, and that means, yes indeed, we all trend becoming mostly sunny today, and temperatures will continue to rise very nicely into the low and yes, mid-50s, forecasting officially in Hazard today, a high of 55. All right, so it's going to be gorgeous for Valentine's Day. When's our next chance of rain? We'll let you know. Your first alert 7-day forecast is coming up in just a few moments. Olivia?
Thank you, Tim, and thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Still to come, mayhem inside an emergency room in Austin, Texas, after a car drove into a hospital, severely injuring several people and killing at least one.